So, how is our version of Goku going to handle King Kai's greatest challenge to date? Hey folks, MasakoX here. In this timeline, the idea of Goku landing on Earth remains, but the location he landed in changed, all to do with the notion that his pod may have been delayed, or there had been a change in the timing of his departure from planet Vegeta. In any case, instead of the woodlands of Mount Paozu, our Kakarot wound up in West City and the backyard of Capsule Corp. From there, the Briefs family took him in and raised them as their own, and gave him the name Boxer after boxer shorts. He still became powerful, having not lost his potential in martial arts, but naturally, being the adopted son of the marvelous engineer that is Dr. Briefs, Boxer wound up gaining other skills to last him into life, such as being a dab hand when it comes to engineering and mechanics for automobiles. But there's a big issue in the way that's stopping him from living his life, because he hasn't got his life right now. In the last part, the Dragon Ball Z part of the story began with full force, with the Dragon team at full force and far more interactive with one another than before. The notion that Raditz could overwhelm them not just in power, but also in revealing the Saiyan secret, being the brother of Kakarot, was a little wanting in this department this time around. It was a bit of a damn squib. The battle, though, was enhanced by the very fact that somebody had been training way more, and that person wasn't an Earthling. It wasn't Boxer. It was Jaco. With Jaco's aid, Raditz wasn't necessarily offed, but instead, he was captured, imprisoned by the Galactic Patrol for his crimes against civilization and as a natural scalp toward the Frieza Force, and they took every chance they could get to make fun of the Frieza Force. However, the biggest shock from the last part was that Boxer was still felled, not by Piccolo or his brother, but by a mysterious man. No, it isn't Zamasu. I heard some of you in the chat, but we might find out more in the fullness of time. In any case, we gotta deal with the consequences of this bizarre continuation of events. The Goku facsimile snuffs it anyway. The Dragon team are left in disarray. Despite their friend not passing away entirely, their lot had been so close to being resolved, and yet, with one swift move from an unknown entity, things had been turned completely on their head. Boxer had been slain, all by a mysterious individual. Raditz had nothing to do with it. He had been carted off to the slammer. But it was interesting to see that when Raditz saw the event happen, he did look pained. Even if his brother had not joined his side, he sure as heck didn't want to see him be taken down in such a disgraceful and cheap maneuver. He lamented it very much. And he also had no idea of the Dragon Balls, so to him, Kakarot was dead. Meanwhile, Mark, Piccolo and Krillin were forced to decide about what they should do with Lon Jon's training. Despite the stranger felling their friend, they had provided some kind of information in return that wasn't bunk. Kind of a one-sided transaction, wouldn't you say? More Saiyans would be arriving, and he had specifically said to train Boxer's boy, the eerie phantom of incoming Saiyans. Can our heroes prevail this? Well, the first task was relatively straightforward. They had to break in the news to Chi-Chi. Hey, I said it'd be straightforward, not easy or pleasurable. Understandably, they sugarcoat it a little bit, treading lightly, with the fact that they can revive Boxer with the Dragon Balls. He hadn't fallen before, and so if they can find the orbs within 1 year, they can bring him back. Good as new. At the same time though, they warned Chi-Chi about the Saiyan threat, and the fact that they probably will need to prepare Lon Jon to help them. Now, you may think that she would be more understanding about this. Not quite. Gone were the tears of anguish from losing her husband, and instead came screeches of shock. Are you out of your mind? I know that you mean well, Krillin, Mark, but our son is 4 years old. How can you expect him to fight at the front line? He's shown no sign of potential in that field. It's madness. We should revive Boxer as fast as we can. To be fair to Chi-Chi, this version of Gohan, Lon Jon, hadn't demonstrated his rage boosts. Bulma, who got also really shaken up about the death of her adopted brother, looked to Chi-Chi and had to level with her in a more sound manner. Listen, I know this sounds crazy, but remember that Lon Jon is half Saiyan. Who knows what he could do? From what I know of Jaco, they're basically battle ready at a pretty early age. I don't like this either, Chi-Chi. No mother wants to see their kid have to fight, or do things a child isn't supposed to do, but he needs to be able to defend himself in case if we In case if we fail. Bulma gave him a look as if to say, "You didn't have to say it out loud." Amidst all of this, Chi-Chi wasn't happy. But in this universe, where Piccolo hadn't kidnapped her boy, and there was a lot more discourse and information and warning about this, she was reasonable enough to know that her son will have the best care possible, and also not be taken away from her every single day. Maybe except for Piccolo. He was a bit of an unknown quantity at the moment since he had been away for so long, and the last time that Chi-Chi had seen him and they had met, he hadn't exactly been the most amiable of folks going, but hey, she did think that as long as Mark would be there to supervise and guide Lon Jon, he could probably have the Green Menace under his control. Chi-Chi sighed and looked to the expectant group. "All right, I entrust you with the well-being of my son. Don't let me down." Mark nodded.
"You got it, Chi-Chi. We'll keep him safe."
"Oh, Mark?
Yeah?
If anything bad happens to him, I will find you."
Mark gave her a tired smile. "Believe me, Chi, if anything bad would happen to your son, that would mean that I'm already gone."
And as such, the rigorous training had begun. Lon Jon was far less stressed with the training though, having so many teachers that he recognized, and also having never been taken against his will. Things were very much on a level pace and far less harrowing for the young lad. Even Chi-Chi herself decided to chime in and use her expertise in teaching him the basics. In this timeline, Chi-Chi gets to observe what her son is doing, and realizes that this is something that he genuinely has an aptitude for, not to mention the fact that he wants to help save his father from the brink of permadeath. She then quickly noticed that what Bulma said was true. Her son was far more developed indeed, for a 4-year-old, than she had expected. No human of that age could be this skilled, and even with that revelation in mind, he was adapting very quickly. She also noticed that Piccolo has a fleeting interest in training him, though he was the harshest, but not as harsh as he was in the original anime. But when you compare him to Mark and Krillin in real time, he hasn't exactly got the best of manners. She had some doubts about this arrangement. She kept having worries about Piccolo over-egging the pudding and actually harming Lon Jon, or having it so the kid would be scared out of it, not wanting to continue out of fear or stress. That was until she overheard a conversation between Piccolo and that annoyance Piano. She had spotted the green man slink off when something had caught his ear, and she chose to investigate.
"See? Now you have a perfect opportunity to turn Box's son against him. You can have the revenge for our father intended for you. Do not waste this glorious chance, brother."
Piccolo said nothing for a second, then asked a question.
"Did he tell you too?"
Piano was taken off guard.
"Who told me what?"
Piccolo scowled.
"That we're Namekians. That we're alien. We're not demons like we were led to believe. Father was wrong."
As in this story, it was Raditz who mentioned the Namekian name far earlier, not Vegeta or Nappa. Piano was visibly shaken by this news, that he and his brethren were not special. They were just regular aliens, not even from this planet.
No, listen, I failed to notice what this has to do with any..."
The pterodactyl mutant seemed thrown for a loop. This gave Piccolo immense satisfaction. It had been such a long time since Piano was at a loss for words. He then doubled down on this, thinking that this might be the ticket in getting this little squirt to either be useful or to leave him alone for good.
"So maybe you should ask yourself some better questions, instead of hounding me every single waking moment. Think, what else did he hide from you? And whether you should even be pursuing his goals at all, instead of trying to actually own your life and live it."
Piano scowled and looked away.
"Because honestly, I don't see any reason on getting anyone else involved in our family matters. If you don't have anything interesting to say, be gone! If I had it my way, I'd never want to see you ever again. You're lucky I didn't kill you the first time I saw you."
Piano did not like this exchange at all, but somebody else did. Chi-Chi was impressed. He had the opportunity to kidnap Lon Jon. It's true, avenge King Piccolo right there. And he actively chose not to. And better yet, he had sent that other one packing. Maybe Piccolo really was different from his father after all.
"I know you're listening, Chi-Chi. Super hearing, you see. I guess it's something Namekians can do."
Chi-Chi flinched and scarpered, leaving Piccolo to watch a haggard Piano discordantly walking away. Later down the line, the likes of Yamcha, Tenshinhan, Yajirobe and Chaozu got involved in the boys' training too, having heard that he had gotten very close to their power in a short space of time, while they received some special tutelage from Kami, similar to what Boxer had undergone many years ago. Piccolo, though, didn't want to be around for any of that. This wasn't the right time to be in close quarters with Kami. Not yet. That's why, alongside Mark, he was the other main mentor Lon Jon had at all times. Mark had asked why Piccolo was so adamant not to be near Kami, but Piccolo just kept giving him cryptic answers which Mark didn't really understand. The only thing he would comprehend was that, like the words he used, it was complicated. But let's leave the land of the living for a second. Let's see what Boxer's been up to. Well, for starters, he was pretty surprised to be dead, as everyone would be. Luckily though, Kami took him pretty early to avoid any misunderstandings from King Yemma.
Kami, do you have any idea who was this man?
Unfortunately, no. He disappeared as soon as I had a brief look on him. He is either very good at hiding or he's no longer on Earth. King Yemma was very concerned about this. He didn't like the idea of some random overpowered strangers appearing out of nowhere and changing the course of future history.
This sounds like something that Cronoa will be good at, but she's way above my pay grade to get her involved. Probably just some bored drifter looking to find trouble. You know, space person looking for kicks.
Another space person? Maybe he has his own conflict with the Saiyans, and since I'm one, then I suppose he felt it right to take me down too, since Raditz was not available.
Kami was thinking that would be the most likely cause. The Saiyans didn't exactly have a long list of friends in the galaxy, most people wanting to exact their revenge on them, but he was still not 100% about it. It's hard to say, but he does have a certain knowledge about events that worry me. Boxer looked to his friend with just as much intrigue.
What do you mean by that?
He knows where I'm about to lead you.
Well, I'd like to know where you're about to lead me, to be fair.
Kami smiled and proceeded to explain to Boxer about King Kai, which ended up in him running on Snake Way. Most of that journey was the same as in the original, minus the fact that Raditz is not dead, so he's not in Hiffle. After some typical misadventures that are par for the course in the worlds of Toriyama, Boxer had finally reached King Kai's planet. But there was a problem. King Kai wasn't exactly a nasty person, but he wasn't exactly the easiest person to please.
As long as you can tell me a joke, I'll train you.
A joke?
Oh man, Kami didn't mention this.
Kami forgets about a lot of things. That in of itself is funny, but that don't count, kid. You gotta come up with your own jokes.
It was getting painful. For days, Boxer tried everything he could, but no matter what Boxer tried, he could not make this finicky being laugh. So he was refused training. But at least he gave the kid food. I mean, King Kai wasn't that mean. Boxer was starting to lose hope in this wild monkey and cricket chase. When it seemed that everything was done for, Boxer noticed something. It had registered in his mind when he first got here, but now that he had time to look at it, a thought sparked in his mind.
Is that a real Chevrolet Bel Air?
King Kai looked surprised.
Well, yeah, actually. Makes sense you know of it since you're from Earth. What about it?
Wow, I've never seen one in that excellent condition. May I have a look?
Sure. I pride myself in taking care of this car, though lately I'm getting worried about a noise it's making. Can't for the life of me figure out what it is, and also, I ain't gonna take this thing to Earth because, well, I can't. The last time a mechanic came by this place was, well, never.
Well, your lordship, you're in luck.
Boxer grinned.
I'm able to do this stuff in my sleep. You got any tools?
King Kai looked very excited and pointed the guy to where he keeps his tool shed. And so, instead of using laughter to woo the king, Boxer was using his mechanical skills to win him over. Boxer not only removed the issue, but he managed to get the car to work even better than before. King Kai was ecstatic about this.
You know what, boy? What was your name again?
Boxer.
Boxer? I think I might have gotten off on the wrong foot. Forget about that whole joke thing. Let's talk about that training one more time.
And with that, Boxer was allowed to train thanks to fixing King Kai's car. You can tune a car, but you can't tune a fish. Thanks to being pretty bright as well, he was actually able to learn the Spirit Bomb and Kaioken much faster than the original Goku. Also, his relationship with King Kai was much more friendly, as they spent the breaks talking about cars. But time was passing quite quickly on Earth. On one fateful day, 2 Saiyans descended on Earth, one tall, one short. Our heroes called in Jaco for backup. They had to be ready for this ordeal. Jaco had his handcuffs at the ready, and a patrol unit on standby in case things went south.
Just say the word,
Jaco said with relish. But Mark wasn't overly keen in getting the patrol involved. These Saiyans may not be willing to go away quietly. And don't stoke the ire of the Freezer Force too much. Boxer had already been revived, but he still needed to travel Snake Way. Sadly, those blasted Saiyans have proven to be really destructive and have eradicated the city that they landed in. But the larger one, Nappa, decided to give their Cybermen some fun, not counting for much in terms of a challenge. Surprisingly though, this time, the Cybermen weren't able to get poor Yamcha, and although it wasn't exactly trivial, the combined forces of all the heroes were able to match them and stomp out Nappa's plant squad. He, however, looked pretty happy about that.
Hey, been a good while since I've even had to put some effort in killing some chumps. That's good.
Sadly, Nappa is a real beast this time around since he is far more motivated to make a point toward the Earthlings and is able to beat the living tar out of everyone. Mark tries to go one-on-one with him, but is almost wiped out, only saved by Jaco. This time, however, Jaco's power is not enough to match this enemy, and Nappa would have finished the Patroller as well, if it wasn't for one extremely powerful power level approaching. It was Boxer. Vegeta looks irritated.
Kill them all before Kakarot appears!
With pleasure. Our heroes looked uneasy. They have to survive until Boxer shows up. Nappa, however, is done playing nice. Can they survive? Well, you'll have to wait since this is where we're going to be leaving things for right now. So what do you folks think? Will this version of Kakarot be more formidable than the original? What else you think could the Earthlings do to hold Nappa off? Leave a comment below and let's get this discussion going. And I will see you in the next video. Catch you later.